Thank you for attending this session. It will be a quick session, 25 minutes or so. My name is Ayrton Lastori. I'm the product manager for the MySQL database service in OCI. So we are going to talk about the basics, the good MySQL and old, also old MySQL database for our OLTP, we keep evolving the product. Now we have a cloud service, learning a lot, how to operate the service, but it's all coming from the MySQL team. So I've been in MySQL team since 2010. We have many people from the old times still in the team doing MySQL and now doing cloud stuff. So we are really excited with this new phase. So if you attend the keynote, Wim talked about this, right? The MySQL is everywhere. It can be used in really large deployments and, OLTP applications, web applications is really, where we have a lot of MySQL running and customers happy and we can do both these large deployments, but also another thing that's important, MySQL is being part of this open source ecosystem, and you can find also MySQL powering your blogs, so small open source applications or small departmental deployments using MySQL. So both of these use cases are really important to us, and you can scale if you want. And we are going to focus more on this world of OLTP applications now, right? So about the service, we've been doing MySQL, for a long time, and now the cloud part, right? So now our challenge is to make it, to give more productivity for users, ease of use. I'll show a quick demo about it. Also, one thing that's really important to us is keep the price performance really affordable. This has been the spirit of MySQL since the beginning, right? An affordable database for all, and we keep that even in the cloud. Also, it's developed and operated by the MySQL team. So the same team that develops the database is now operating the database for you, and support is included in the service. So it's really having the MySQL team as an extension of your team by using the service, right? So all enterprise features that you find also in on-prem that you need to pay to use them on-prem, they are available in the service, and as I said, the support is included. So regarding the possible architectures, right? So we are talking more about the OLTP applications, right? That power social, e-commerce, fintechs, but also, of course, if you are interested in machine learning, OLAP, it's the same database, it's the same product. So you can start simple, right? You can start with a single instance, a single database. In the cloud, we have this abstraction, which we call DB system. So it's really something that helps you to manage one instance or a cluster of database, so multiple instances. And from the application perspective, you see a single endpoint where you can write and read from it. And then you can, grow the backend as you wish, right? You can change the compute shapes. It will be running in a virtual machine or multiple virtual machines. You can change the shapes, scale up, scale down, or even add more nodes as you go, right? So you can start as standalone. You see the single read-write endpoint, and then if you want to enable HA, it's a simple operation. You click enable HA. Of course, you can deploy the DB system as a HA DB system since the beginning if you want. And when you enable HA, actually we are deploying 2 additional nodes. They are using group replication to keep synchronized. And if one node fails, like here, we do the automatic failover, and your application continues to work, right? So with this, we offer 99.99% of SLAs, automatic failover. There's zero data loss, and we give an option to manual switchover if you want, or you also take advantage of this architecture for upgrades. So we upgrade first the secondary nodes, and then we fail over or switch over, and you have minimal downtime in maintenance operations when you need to switch from one to another. So another extension of the architecture, the architectures are read scale out, right? When you have these really big environments where you have a lot of reads going to your database, another thing you can do is add additional read replicas, and then you have another endpoint for read-only operations, so selects, right? So you connect your application to that load balancer. It's built in the service. It's a single endpoint, and then it will send the selects to the replicas, right? So the reads to all your replicas. So you can add and remove replicas online. It's really easy, one-click operation also. If you want, you can connect direct to the replica, but if you want more, to be more transparent, you connect to the load balancer read endpoint, and the effect is basically you have scalability for your read operations, right? So here, by adding more replicas, you can see the number of transactions per second. They go to millions, right? So you can really scale out your system by adding more replicas. All right, another possibility in terms of architecture is, we have this abstraction of a single DB system where you have a cluster underneath, but also you can have multiple DB systems replicating to each other using MySQL replication, or even you can have external MySQL database replicating to a DB system. So you can have, for example, this cross-region replication, DB system to DB system, but you can use this replication from another cloud or on-prem into OCI to do migrations, or even to keep it live. So you can keep these hybrid deployments on-premise, and you can have part of our database on-prem and a copy of our database in OCI. You use OCI as your disaster recovery, for example. So there's a lot of possibilities with that. We add some guidance here in the console to help to configure replication from other clouds also. So when you select, if you want to replicate, for example, from RDS into OCI, you just select here. It will filter out the tables that we don't need in OCI, and the replication will keep health and running. All right, so in terms of security, we do most of the security for you. It's always secure by default. In the keynote, we mentioned that we don't expose the database to the public internet, never. So, and we provide tools for developers to make it easy to work with the database. But it's secure by default, actually. So we have very good defaults from the security perspective. We have the enterprise plugins like data masking, enterprise encryption functions that you can use in the service. So so it's really good there, right? So another differentiator, if you compare to other service, is it's always up to date, right? We developed the server, the MySQL server. Then when the new version of the MySQL server is ready, it will be available in the cloud also. So it's always up to date. It has the latest fixes for security and also innovation, if you will. Now we just announced the long-term support release model where you can choose, right? If you want more stability, you don't need the innovation, you can stay on the LTS version. And then if you need innovation, you can also choose, right? We give the choice. All right, so a very quick demo to show you the look and feel of the, let me try to do this. I think it's quicker. All right. Yeah, so here's the OCI console, right? And then you come here to database and MySQL, and then you can see your DB systems, right? Here I have 2 DB systems running. I have other DB systems that are already lit. If I want to create a new one, I have these templates here that will help me with the configurations. I can select production or test and dev, and what I need to do is basically enter the username and the password. Okay, and then I can configure the network, right? So I can select the network where my endpoints will be exposed. So I'm going to select this one here, and then of course this subnet. So the VCN is organized in subnets, and I'll select this private subnet here. So my endpoints will be exposed in this networking. I can select a different shape if I want, the storage, the backups. I have a bunch of advanced options here, but really, you know, with really good defaults, I can just come here and click create. And it will create this DB system, right? With, in this case, a single instance, because I select standalone. If I select production, it will have HA enabled. While this is deploying, I can show you one example of a DB system that's already created. So come here, database, MySQL, and let me select this one. For example, has HA, and read replicas is a good example. So you can see that I have a single endpoint here, private IP address. I can connect to the database using this endpoint, but also in this case I have high availability enabled, and underneath I have these 3 nodes, right, that are always synchronized with automatic failover if necessary. I can check my endpoints here and see that I also have read replicas. So here I have a couple of endpoints. I have a primary endpoint where I can read and write, but I also have additional endpoints for read replicas. If I want a single endpoint for reads, I have this built-in load balancer that will give that for me. So if I want to add a new replica, for example, it's just come here and boom. In a couple of minutes, it will, behind the scenes, it's deploying a new VM with MySQL installed. It configures the replication, and you scale out your operations like this. All right, so now back to these slides. Okay, so yeah, so one important part, as I mentioned, is the price performance, right? If you do a quick comparison, and it's really easy to compare apples to apples, the price with other vendors, you see that we are much cheaper, right? And this is kind of OCI, a part of OCI strategy, right? To offer a really good infrastructure at a reasonable price. So MySQL follows the strategy, and also it's part of the MySQL core, right? Being affordable. So we are up to, you know, even we can be even more cheaper in some scenarios, but you know, you can consider that on average we are going to be 2.5 times cheaper than the competitors, right? So it's a really I think that you know, I insist people to take a look, compare, and in some cases you'll be amazed with the performance. Even for OLTP, we have really good defaults. We have you know, OCI is an amazing platform, you know, with a really good infrastructure. So we can you know, offer a really nice performance with a reasonable price. Yeah. So, and as I mentioned, by using the service, you actually have the MySQL team as an extension of your team, right? The same team that offers the support for the on-prem, for the enterprise customers, it also gives nice service and support for the cloud service. So it's included. There's no additional cost. For other cloud vendors, it's a separate cost, right? In our case, it's included. The service operations are done by our DevOps team. So the same team that developed the cloud service, they are there. They have a pager now, and they operate the service. So there's a lot of, as mentioned in the keynote, there's a lot of learning for this team. How to operate the service. What really matters for scalable operations, we put back in the product, and MySQL is really evolving, by us doing this as the MySQL team. And the enterprise features are included. So we offer free credit. If you go to Oracle.com MySQL free, you can create an account. You can use other cloud service in NoCI, but also MySQL and HeatWave if you are interested in the OLTP part, also on all the innovation for the machine learning. Is the same product. You just with a few clicks you deploy the HeatWave configuration and you're done, right? So that's it from my side. Thank you very much for attending.